All right, I have 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start out with the pledge of the American flag and follow that by a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Roberts, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Conrad, Mr. Here. Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Johns. Here. Mr. Kimmer.
Here.
Mr. Smelter.
Here.
All are present. Item 1.5, minutes of the March 9th regular meeting. You've all had an opportunity to review those. If there's any changes, we can make them now. If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Mrs. Conrad, does anybody move to approve? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Johns, second the motion. Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Conrad Zingmeister, yes. Mrs. Johns. Yes. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Motion passed. On 1.6, adjustments to the agenda. Bello?
None at this time.
We'll move on into information discussion. Start out with superintendent updates.
Thank you. Try to keep my comments brief this evening with the principals reporting. I don't want to make sure I don't steal anybody's thunder. I know last meeting Mr. Schaefer was a little upset with me, so I'll make sure I don't do that again. On the agenda this evening, you'll see first reading for handbooks for every building, as well as the athletic handbook and the technology handbook and protection plan. Like to thank Ms. Throckmorton for her work with the principals and putting together the changes, and also including a detail for board members of the changes that are in each one, so you don't have to read all of the handbooks. She's detailed those out. And again, the teamwork there between Ms. Throckmorton and the principals, really appreciate that to help it be a little bit more concise for everybody to see. So first reading there, if you have any questions, if you've had a chance to look at those, certainly can ask the principals this evening as they present, but we'll bring those back next board meeting. We can have discussion at that time as well if there are any questions. Same with policies. There are 4 policies for consideration, first reading tonight. All of those are mandated by law, so we're either updating wording in our current policy or adopting a new policy as required by recently passed legislation. One in particular that I do want to touch on tonight is policy JEB, and it's the entrance age for students entering kindergarten. Historically, law was you had to be 5 by August 1st. In the budget bill, that was changed to you have to be 5 by the first day of instruction. Left a little bit of a little bit of a gray area for schools. Because many schools like us stagger their starts with kindergarten. So, what is the first day of instruction when kindergarten is coming in at a later date and every other day until we get all of them in? So we took the stance as a district. We were just going to make it the first day of instruction for our district as a whole. So next year for Fairfield Union, it's August 13th. You have to be 5 by August 13th to be eligible for kindergarten. But that date will change every year. Whatever our start date for school is, that'll also be the age for, or the birth date for kindergarten enrollment. So we'll try to continue to educate people on that and keep that at the forefront so that next year when that date changes, we try to make sure everybody's aware of that. Along those lines, and I already breaking my rule here, we are in the middle of kindergarten registration. We have testing going on, but that will be ongoing, kindergarten registration. So anyone who has a child that will be 5 by August 13th, we welcome them to contact either Bremen or Pleasantville and love to get them enrolled. So do appreciate all the hard work happening in the buildings to bring our students in for testing and screening and get them in. So additionally, you'll see on the agenda tonight some transfers of staff members. Anytime you have an opening, it seems like there's a domino effect at times, and that's kind of what's happening now. So would like to bring all of those moves to the board at one time so that we can address them quickly and start posting jobs that come open from the movements. So you'll see that on the board agenda. I can answer any questions there. Finally, just want to talk briefly about school pictures. We have historically as a school district used LifeTouch for our pictures, and there's been some controversy surrounding LifeTouch recently in regards to potential involvement in the Epstein files. I shared with board members a chronological outlook of LifeTouch and how that became a topic in our country, and also worked with our legal counsel just to verify dates and times. And LifeTouch, kind of a quick summary, LifeTouch was purchased by Shutterfly, and Shutterfly was purchased by a company called the Apollo Management Group. And in the years 2010 to 2017, the CEO of Apollo was a guy by the name of Leon Black, and Leon Black is mentioned in the Epstein files. He was a close associate with Jeffrey Epstein. By the time LifeTouch was purchased by Shutterfly, it was 2 months after Jeffrey Epstein had been arrested and a month after he died in prison. So by the time LifeTouch became associated with the company that was owned by the company that was once run by a guy associated, there was a lot of layers of separation there, but certainly understand the concern parents have with student privacy and student information. So we wanted to do our due diligence in looking into all of that. Along those lines, we have begun to research other companies that do school pictures, and those talks are ongoing. And I think we're at the point where I will recommend that at least for next year we transition away from LifeTouch pictures until all the smoke is cleared with this, and we know for sure that here's all of the facts of the situation. Like I said, we've worked with our legal counsel. We feel like we have a good handle on it, but we also understand the concern of community members, and we want to make sure we're sensitive to that. And as a reminder, any company that does business with the school district must sign a DPA, data privacy agreement, that ensures that any information related to student identity is protected and done so under state and federal law. So we feel very good that our data has been protected and hasn't been leaked, but like I said, we want to be sensitive to the concerns and certainly understand those concerns. So I would look for our district to have a different vendor next year. I'm currently interviewing different companies and feel like I have one in mind that is used locally. They're a family-owned company with a headquarters in Zanesville, so they're close, they're local, and a couple of districts very close to us that have given me rave reviews about them. So doing a little bit more research before we make the final decision, but definitely wanted to keep the board updated on that. So any questions on that? That's all I have for this evening.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. That moves us into public comment. We do have Ms. Sherry Fultz is asked to speak to the board, so we'll give you the floor. I'll just remind you, based on our rules, we've got 3 minutes that you're allowed to speak with the board about any concerns you may have.
Okay. First of all, I'd just like to thank Mr. Knott and Mr. Montgomery and Chad and Mrs. McCallish for all the work they've done for my grandson. My grandson came home one day all black and blue. So anyways, we won't go into all those details or anything like that, but I did come down and just see the cameras. And I noticed that my husband came with me. The cameras over at Bremen Elementary, you could not make out a student on that playground. So my concern is, as far as what if somebody would come in and try to kidnap one of those children? You would not be able to see the person or anything like that. Is there a way that the system could be updated or more cameras put out there to where, because you have aides out there, of course, but those aides aren't going to be able to watch every single thing out there. And so that was just some of our concerns about if we couldn't even find out who did this to my grandson, what about a complete stranger coming in and trying to kidnap a kid? So that was just a concern, so I didn't know if there's a way that systems could get updated on that, or possible extra cameras.
A big conversation we can certainly entertain. I don't know the number of cameras we have. I know.
I mean, I can let you know, in 2023, we did a complete upgrade of every camera in the district, and that project was over $215,000. At the time, we purchased the best cameras we could that have some recognition capabilities, but when they zoom, they were not designed to give like clear facial recognition type of ability. Evan may have more information on cameras in general, but in doing some quick research over the weekend, to upgrade from the cameras that we currently have, easily the cameras could run anywhere between $400 to over $1,000 each to have a real 4K high definition ability to zoom in and have like facial recognition. To upgrade the entire system at that expense obviously would be well in excess of the $215,000 we spent in 2023. When we did our upgrade in 23, we did involve the Sheriff's Department with that project, and had them inspect it, and obviously they open to the conversation. I think our camera system is equivalent, if not better, than virtually every school district around us. And most school cameras don't have that ability to zoom and have the detail where you can pick out faces and things like that. It's just a budgetary constraint, to be honest.
I checked ours out at the school, and I could see all their faces.
Yeah, inside the building.
No, I mean,
you
this
can.
was on the playground.
Yeah, no, and again, Bern Union was just built, so their cameras are 3 years newer than ours. So I'm sure they do have some really good capability there. Evan, I don't know if you have.
There are, and I mean, I can definitely go out and look and see if there's anywhere we can add a camera as well. But there are limitations too as to where you can put them. I mean, that one is on the corner of the building. There may be another spot somewhere we could add an additional one, but there might also not be a closer corner of the building that we can put one. So I mean, we can definitely look at that. But.
Well, it's like we had talked about too, the playground itself, Mr. Knott and I were talking, you have the safety of it so the children don't fall, which is understandable, but they're so little, it blocks everything
so
too.
The height, their height versus the height of the top of the slides and stuff, even if I could have probably zoomed in and it'd been beautiful, I would have just had tops of heads just because of their height and the safety features of the slide and the things that we have in place.
And like I said, they've done a great job. I appreciate everything they did. That was just my husband and I's concern. When we got home, we thought, wow, what if there's an intruder or something? Would they be able to pick up on something like this? I mean, that was just my concern.
Okay, well, I've had a little experience with cameras too, and it seems like every time you want a picture, it's not the right angle or the right focus to get what you need, but it can get very frustrating. But certainly we can have those conversations to see if there's any improvements we can make within the budget and within our means to try to make things a little bit better. So appreciate your time. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to reports and presentations, administrators report. We will start with Mrs. Tokars.
Well, welcome to Pleasantville. It feels like it's been a while since I've had the chance to share about all the wonderful things happening here. So I'm excited to give you a little glimpse into the past few weeks. Last Thursday, we had the joy of welcoming the parents of the class of 2039, our newest kindergarten families. It's always such a special evening. Our kindergarten teachers, Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Sines, do an incredible job helping all of our families feel informed, comfortable, and excited for this big transition. I always get a few laughs when I share with my favorite line with our new parents. We won't believe everything your child tells us about you if you don't believe everything they tell you about us. It's a fun reminder that we're truly in this together. Kindergarten screenings are underway this week, and it's been a wonderful beginning to get to know our newest learners. Our first grade students have been enjoying visits to the Bremen Public Library, and these experiences have been so meaningful. Under the guidance of Mrs. Betts, students are participating in activities like library scavenger hunts, listening to engaging new read-alouds, and completing crafts connected to their learning. Each student has received their own library card and is able to check out books to bring back to school. As a former ELA teacher and a teacher librarian, this is especially close to my heart. These hands-on learning experiences matter. Giving students choice, access, and time with books helps build strong reading habits and a genuine love of learning. Recently, our first and second grade students celebrated both Grandparents' Day and their music program, Music, down on the farm. These are some of my favorite days at Pleasantville. There is something so powerful about welcoming grandparents into our building. The generational connections are incredibly special. The joy throughout the school was undeniable, and I always hear so much gratitude from our families for these opportunities. I'm actually coming from a district where we did not have Grandparents' Days. I have so many grandparents come up to me and thank me that we still do this and we have this opportunity at Fairfield Union. Our students continue to impress us musically as well. They're learning rhythm and beat and melody and confidently showcasing their skills, yes, even on the xylophone. This is a true credit to Mrs. Carrie Burnworth and her dedication to music education. After attending the musical this past weekend, I'm already excited to see which of our students here at Pleasantville begin to find their place on the stage. I love that we are able to expose them to these experiences so early. Our third and fourth grade students have been working hard as they prepare for the upcoming Ohio State test. Our teachers have been implementing rapid cycle intervention groups, allowing for targeted instruction and frequent progress monitoring. Students are engaging in test readiness activities that help build both skills and confidence. It's been great to see the intentional work happening to ensure that every student feels prepared and confident and supported for the test. Our fourth grade students are currently reading vignettes from The House on Mango Street, and it has been truly meaningful to watch them engage with this text. Through these short, powerful snapshots of life, students are beginning to see the world through different perspectives and voices. It helps build empathy, understanding, and appreciation for the diverse stories that exist all around us. A few additional highlights: our PTO Breakfast Club continues to be a special part of our school culture. Something as simple as sharing donuts brings families into our building and strengthens those important home school connections. As we look ahead, there's many exciting events coming up. Grade cards go home this Friday. Of course, we're looking forward to our little spring break. We have the Good program, and our PTO annual carnival is on April 11th. Mark your calendars, 4 to 8. Bingo starts at 4:30. It's one of our favorite community events, and we would love to have you join us. Actually, our students are working on they're in poster contest mode. So third and fourth graders are submitting their posters. So I printed one of them today for you. So you know you can hang this up so you remember that it is April 11th. And we hope you all join us. You're welcome. One of our fourth grade students' artwork. Yes, ma'am. Just here at Pleasantville. This year I opened it up to third graders too, because there's some fourth graders that they're just not art students. They don't want to do the poster contest. So I said, you only have to do it if you want to. if you're an artist. So we opened it up to 3rd and 4th grade. But I have quite a few posters to choose from. So we're excited. The post office here in Pleasantville and a few other places lets us hang up the kids' posters. So that's always nice. Mary knows all of the places and make sure those are hung in the community. Let's see, Right to Read Week, April 27th. And then we have our Grandparents' Day in our 4th grade music program on April 28th, and that'll be at 6 p.m. So again, thank you so much for your continued support of our staff and students here at Pleasantville. We really appreciate you all.
Can you say the date for your 4th grade program again?
April
please?
28th.
Thank you.
Can I answer any
6
questions?
p.m.
6 p.m. for the music program, yep. All right, thank you so much.
Mr. Short. Next up, we'll have Mr. Riley Montgomery.
All right, what'd she say? All right, so it's been a little while since we last met. So we started out February with our father-daughter, mother-son barn dance. That was a lot of fun. I mean, every time, I say this a lot, but I'm just always amazed at how Bremen just, so many parents and families come out to just support everything we're doing, you know, just to show all that support for the kids. And just every time we're doing an event, we just have tons of parents that show up. So it's always great to see. And, you know, hopefully I didn't discourage too many kids with my amazing dance moves, but I mean, there was. So it was great to see all that. And then Valentine's Day again, huge family turnout. It's really cool to see all the cool boxes they made and just the excitement behind that. Then parent-teacher conferences, we had our gifted testing. Mr. Knott gets to talk about all that exciting stuff. And then music programs. So again, Ms. Togar just talked about, we had 1st and 2nd grade. We did an awesome job with that. Ms. Wright helped too. And then we had our field trip to the high school to see Bye Bye Birdie. The high school did an awesome job with that. Appreciate the invite to that. And then for PBIS, this round we're doing a popcorn and movie party with seasoned popcorn and everything like that. We're up to 1,700 Falcon slips, so we've already gone past what we did last year. So, and then we've done 128 golden eggs, which is the equivalent. So we've given away 128 books from the book vending machine so far. And then leadership club. So we started having 2 high schoolers come each week and meet with our students and kind of talk to them about what it's like to be in middle school, what it's like to be in high school, talk about those leadership traits. They get to ask them all kinds of questions. Mostly it's about what it's like to drive, you know. But, you know, when I kind of steer them back on course, you know, it's about lockers, you know, getting up early, you know, what does it take to, you know, really succeed in those things, you know. A lot of questions today about sports. You know, we had 2 football players, you know, talking about like what it's like to, you know, deal with, you know, when, you know, you lose a game, how do you get back up? How do you deal with those kind of things? A lot of great questions today with that. So a lot of great stuff going on there. Upcoming events, on Wednesday and Thursday we have our breakfast club. So that's going on from 8 to 8:30. So Wednesday is the A through M names, and Thursday is the N through Z names. And then on April 2nd, Mrs. Montgomery and Miss Stewart has their student projects. I know they've reached out recently to you guys on that. And Miss Neal's doing some projects too that she'll be reaching out to some of you about. And then state testing is coming up soon. So that's all I really have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I believe you, a couple of students from Bremen Elementary and maybe one from Pleasantville did really, really well in recycling.
Yes, we had a couple of winners there, and so that was really exciting.
15, almost 1,500.
Yes, we had 3 students place at Pleasantville in 3rd grade.
Yes, yes. Emma Wells is one of them.
Myers.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Emma Myers.
We can
Yeah.
give you those names.
Yeah, we will give you those names for sure.
Okay.
But that was really exciting. We just did yearbook pictures, and they got their pictures in that, so it was really cool to see that. So for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Rosenau.
This is very boring tonight. It's just that time of year. It is what it is. The window for STAR testing has wrapped up. Again, K through 4, they look at math and they look at reading. So then once all that data is in there, I pull that data out and I look at it in subgroups. So at DLT, we'll be looking at things like how many economically disadvantaged kiddos were in 3rd grade at Pleasantville. Of those kids, how many have met that growth goal? In other areas, you should look at is how many your special education population, just different categories that we look at to kind of say, are we getting the growth in those areas? If not, what do we need to do differently? If so, maybe one building is doing it really well. What are they doing a little differently that the other one isn't, or does it matter? So that's kind of, that'll be a good focus for DLT and then some of the TBDs moving forward. Like Mr. Montgomery said, gifted testing. I'm telling you what, snow day, we get a day in, snow day. We did get all of that wrapped up. We will get those results before the end of this school year, and then you take a look at did any of our kids get identified for gifted? If so, in what areas? And then that helps us then as you look at those class lists and things, and you look at programming for the next school year, making sure those kiddos are on the right list to get the right services. Kindergarten screening is happening here in Pleasantville. Bremen has historically always just done theirs a little bit later, so theirs will be the week of April 13th. I was just in there this morning and Andy was on the phone and there was a parent calling, I think it's kindergarten time. That new date has been, they thought Mr. Knott made a mistake in the first and that, which is okay, but at least they're paying attention to it and they're asking those questions and we're sharing that new information to them. That's something you want to look at every year. That could change every year, those kinds of things. The principals and I, it's observation evaluation time for a lot of teachers stuff, so we're working on those things and touching base about things like that. I'm also taking a look at, Riley mentioned state testing, just looking at those building schedules, seeing where I can help out, what do we need to do, and now the kids that have the small group and those other supports that we have that in place so that we're ready to go. Other than that, it's always fun. Thanks, guys.
Next up, Mr. Schaefer.
Good evening, everyone. I was told today at school we have 42 days left, and I had like the rush of like summer break excitement, and then thinking at the same time like 42 days to get graduation and pray at. So a little bit of both going on there at the high school. But we have a lot of stuff going on right now. Obviously, like I said, graduation and prom. But then at the same time, Mrs. Hahn and I were talking today about planning the 8th grade visit here for the end of the school year when they get to come over and kind of tour campus. So it's exciting. There's a lot of closing out this year, getting ready for the start of next year. I just wanted to highlight our program of studies again. I know I talked about that at the last meeting, but just wanted to highlight again some areas that we're pretty excited about. So the program of studies has an expanded CCP offering. One thing that we've kind of found out about we're really excited about is just the CCP offerings we have now in our core areas. So we've always kind of had some CCPs in our electives. Our business pathways expanded a little bit there. But going into next year with an additional college science class, 2 additional CCP math classes, we now have 2 social studies CCPs with micro and macroeconomics. It's just kind of an area that we've always had the APs, we've always had our on level, so not just that added caveat of some CCPs in our core areas. The scheduling forms are due Friday, but they're starting to come in, and you can kind of see how the kids are really getting drawn to the stuff that we're offering. So we're excited. I think our staff is excited. They're working with our college partners to obtain some syllabus and start to develop their courses for next year. So we're just really excited about that. Really excited about our elective offerings too. We've added some new ag courses that it looks like students are pretty excited about there, as well as kind of redesigning our art curriculum there to kind of give some variety in our art courses in a new music theory class. So all of those, when you put them on the board, there's a lot of classes that are being offered at the high school, but the kids are definitely excited about that. A lot of buzz around those things. State testing is coming up. We've got, working with Mr. DeStadio, we had our test security meeting today, but we've got our English ELA 2 test on April 9th and 10th. Then we do Algebra 1 on April 14th and 15th, with U.S. History on the 14th, U.S. Government on the 15th, Geometry on the 16th and 17th, and Biology on the 21st and 22nd, all of April. It's kind of a stressful time, but it's all hands on deck, and it's always, we're excited to see how our students perform. Not that, one test determines how we kind of view the year, but it seems like every year we kind of put that out in front of the students to try to, achieve at a high level, and every year when we get the test scores back, they do incredibly well. Always kind of one step every year. It's like, I don't know how we get higher than that. And then the next year we get them in and they're a little bit higher. So just looking forward to watching our kids perform in those upcoming tests. Also, just as a reminder, we do have military signing night this Thursday night at the high school. We have 2 students, 7 p.m., 2 students who will be signing to go into the military there. So we're really excited to have some individuals from the military branches to come in and talk about those individuals. And Mr. Belleville will be our keynote that night. So really excited. We've invited a lot of the veterans who come to the school for our Veterans Day Assembly and some other events. So we're just really excited to have a nice community evening to recognize the service of these two individuals as they kind of plan for their post-graduation. I also wanted to point out just some achievements of some of our students. First, I just want to recognize our FFA officer interviews. I sat in on those, I think that was last week. So they do one election a day. So we only have 3 currently. They're going to keep rolling in this week. But just excited to see how these individuals in leadership positions, what they do for the chapter next year. So we've got Carter Miller, who has been elected as president, Hudson Miller, who has been elected as our vice president, and then just this evening, I had to write it down really quick, Olivia Lovings they just announced that she won secretary. So there's 3 of our officers. The rest will roll in this week. All of the kids did an outstanding job. I think just in the time that I've been in administration, we had the most students go for officer positions this year. We had 14 students who went for officer positions. And I think we don't have 14 positions, so there's some hard decisions that have to be made. But the thing that I found the most interesting is you have a lot of years where kids will say, I only want president, and that's it. Or I only want secretary, and that's all I want. This year, all 14 students that we had who went for an officer position, they listed every one. All of the 8, they said, I don't care what I get. They ranked them, but there was none that they would turn down. They just wanted to be involved in leadership positions in the chapter. So really excited about that. I do have a string of names here as we finish up the winter. Just these are students who received either all league or all district honors. I just want to recognize them by sport. In boys basketball, we had Mason Ailes, Asa Klein, Trevor Utzinger, and Keaton Webb, who all received all league or all district. Girls basketball, Macy Martindale, Maddie Mitchell, Taylor Smeck. In cheerleading, we had Riley Harness, Bailey Harness, Caden Schlegel, and Ariana Svebek. Boys swimming, they had a ton. And I would go through each one that they listed, but we'd be here all night. So I'll just give you their names. Boys swimming, Anthony Barnicut, Howard Bean, Alex Moore, Parker Redding, Luke Sattler, Sam Smith, and Landon Winters. Girls swimming, Ava Ankrum, Lily Bates, Kara Bora, Layla Wolf. And then in wrestling, Colton Bora, Lane Farmer, Braxton Linhart, Ashton McCafferty, and Cohen McQuarrie. So all of those students coming out of the winter all received all league, all district, both. So just really impressed by how we finished the winter. And then as we go into the spring, this Friday, most of our teams are getting involved, and track's going to start opening up. They're all scrimmaging right now, but official start times coming up here this weekend. So we're really excited to just kind of see the spring teams kind of bring us into the end of the year here, and it's always fun to watch those teams as they compete. Lastly, I try to kind of pick a group to recognize each time I do this, so I think this probably is not a surprise, but the group I'd like to recognize tonight is just our music department. Anybody who had the opportunity to see the musical this last week, and they just did an outstanding job. I started to try to list everybody, and then I deleted it because there was absolutely no way. I think it's hard sometimes if you're not from our district. I talked to some folks back home from where I'm at, the musical's not as big, and when you start telling people all that goes into our production, it is impressive. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to Mr. Gregory, Mrs. Burnworth, and Mr. Kitchen between the pit and choreography and everything that they do. Those 3 do a phenomenal job. And then just the category, and I'll probably miss the category, but our set crew, we've got community volunteers who are in the building all the time putting together that set. And this was an extensive set this year. There's quite a bit to that. All of the students who were involved in performing, the singing and the choreography is just impressive. Our light and our audio crew, Mr. Rodenbaugh kind of takes it up with some of our students. We had an update in the auditorium this year, so one, they're learning that, programming it, and then to execute it the way they did, just outstanding. A lot of our students that you don't see are costumes and makeup and hair design behind the scenes. They were phenomenal this year. And then lastly, our NHS volunteers that were there each night, just helping people find their seats and just getting folks in the door. So it's a team effort. It's a special event that we get to put on each year. I know everybody's already talking about what's the musical going to be next year, so we will wait to see. I don't even know that one, so we'll all find that out here at the beginning of May. But that's all I have for this evening, unless you have any questions for me.
I have a question that kind of pertains to Mr. Montgomery's presentation with the leadership, the students.
Sure.
Do you select those students, Mr. Schaefer, or do they apply to get to be the ones that go to the elementary?
So the students who are partnering with the elementary school, as well as I mentioned our 8th grade trip, our 8th grade shadow, I guess. We have a leadership class. It kind of developed as just a leadership 1, and then we had so many kids that got into it, we ended up making 2. So we have a leadership 1 and a leadership 2. Leadership 2 focuses more on kind of applying the skills and the things like that. Those are the students who are going with Mr. Montgomery, who will also be helping out with our 8th grade visit. So leadership 1's kind of learning, conflict resolution and communication skills and leadership skills. And then, leadership 2, they look at building-wide projects, district-wide projects that they can help with. So those are those students. Yep. All right.
Thank you. Last but not least, Mrs. Hahn.
Hi, good evening. Great to be here this evening. It has been a while since we have reported, so thank you for having us. I'm going to start out with athletics, which we don't have a whole lot yet because of the weather and the rain and the cold. We haven't gotten an 8th grade baseball game in yet, but we do have one scheduled for this week. Our 7th grade is also scheduled to take on Bern Union at Bern Union Wednesday. Our softball team actually has had they've opened their season with 2 wins so far, so that's great. And track and field have been practicing, sometimes even indoor. But their first meet isn't until the beginning of April, which is our Falcon Invitational, and that's April 2nd. I want to highlight Mr. Boucher and his phys ed classes, actually. So we were invited to participate in the Team Trestle Fitness Challenge. And I went ahead and I applied for that, and we were able to go ahead and start that for 2nd semester. So it essentially is a 30-day challenge where students, and it's for Rushville Middle School, it's grades 5, 7, and then we have 1 elective 8th grade class who have phys ed. So they had to create a SMART goal that all came from either categories of cardio, strength, flexibility, nutrition, and sleep. And then they had to track that goal for a 30-day period. So Mr. Boucher also teamed up with Mrs. Lightnecker, who is our health teacher. So I've been in phys ed when the kids have to get out their booklets and check what their goals are and do their skills for that. I've also been in health class where Mrs. Lightnecker will take the first few minutes of her health class, and again the kids have to get out their Team Trestle booklets, check what their goals are, and then track their progress. And then they have to take a few minutes then to do those exercises right there in health class. So I had a kid who was like right beside of me doing his plank for a minute, or just doing different things like that, just to interact and have that physical fitness within their daily lives. So Mr. Boucher has reported that the students did really well in this challenge, and that the students will be receiving gold, silver, or bronze medals for their participation in this challenge. So I'm grateful that they were able to do this kind of above and beyond what their normal expectations are in the classroom. Zern is is an online supplemental math course that we have our students doing at the middle school. They're online lessons that coincide and match up very well with what they're learning in the classroom. And there are 2 to 3 lessons that we expect for them to complete successfully on a weekly basis. So Mrs. Rice and I were meeting with our representative a few weeks ago, and we just wanted to kind of spice up math involvement, especially before state testing, just because we've missed some school. What can we do extra above and beyond what they're already doing in the classroom? So we designed a Zern challenge for our students at the middle school, and we are wanting to, the goal is for them to successfully complete 20 additional lessons before April 19th. That just kind of coincides with the week of their math test. So we're really trying to boost some extra math instruction between now and then. And we really have kids who are eager to participate in this. They're doing very well. We actually have a few kids who have completed their year-long Zern lessons. They've done all of them for, their grade level. So, we're very impressed by their, involvement in this. It can't be spring without testing, of course. So we have completed in February our grade 5 Torrance Creative Thinking test, which is for our creative thinkers for gifted testing. Our algebra readiness test was given to all of our 7th grade students. This test really tests what their algebra skills. So this test, along with their OST, their STAR scores, their math capabilities from 7th grade, all of that kind of gets tied together so that we are able to determine who's best suited for the algebra class as 8th grade students. Earlier this month in March, we had our Iowa testing, and that is also a gifted test, and that tests our 6th grade students for reading, math, science, and social studies. And all of these tests, like Mr. Knott had said, it really helps us be able to place students in certain classes. We do offer in the middle school some advanced classes for reading, language arts, and math. And so depending upon test scores and so forth, we're able to put students into the classes that will best fit their needs. We, of course, have our Ohio State testing for ELA. That's going to be the 9th and 10th of April. Science tests, that's for only grades 5 and 8, and that will be April 15th and 16th. And then our math test is for all students, and that's April 23rd and 22nd. So we've got a lot of tests going on next month. I want to congratulate our Math Counts students. That's one of our student programs, Mrs. Young. I want to have a special shout out to her. She is their advisor, and they had their regional competition last month on February 12th. A special congratulations goes out to the students consisting of the team of Troy Heim, Riley Montgomery, Olivia Heston, and Emma Lashbrook, who scored 4th out of the 10 schools at regionals. And then they also had 4 students score individually in the top 25%, and those students were Emma Lashbrook, Ben Boyer, Troy Heim, and Olivia Heston. And if I know that you all know Miss Forsyth, and she wanted to write something on behalf of her for Power of the Pen. Of course, Power of the Pen is she's very passionate about Power of the Pen. They always do extremely well. And so these are her words that she wanted me to share with you. So on behalf of Power of the Pen, Ms. Forsyth would like to personally thank the Board of Education for supporting her team over the years. In addition, the writers at Fairfield Union are blessed to have had such amazing language arts teachers from every grade throughout elementary and middle school years. At the regional Power of the Pen tournament at Ohio University Lancaster, several students from Rushville Middle School scored in the top 12. So our 7th graders, we had Zachary Hartman. He was 12th place. Annabelle Burrows was 2nd. 8th grade, Olivia Heston was 11th. Addison Bohr was 5th. Layla Paxton 2nd. And Aaliyah Gwendolyn was 1st. Our 8th grade Power of the Pen team placed 1st at this competition. And we also earned the Sweepstakes Award, which combines all of our 7th and 8th grade scores for that. So we won that Sweepstakes Award. Isabella Reinschild she's a 7th grade student, and she won the best of round in the round 2 with her story entitled Treehouse Tantrum. So we do have several students who are going to be going to the state competition for Power of the Pen, and that will take place on May 18th at Ashland University. That's right there in the last week of school. So looking forward to some really great results from this team. They always produce great results. So thank you to Ms. Forsyth. She just is very passionate about this group of students, and they always do extremely well. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I appreciate all the administrators' reports tonight. I think it's safe to say if you need to cut out, you're more than welcome to. So I know you've had a long day already, so appreciate your reports. We will move on into item 5 consent, or section 5 consent agenda section. Start out with 5.1 workshops and conferences. I'll take Zwick and Jennifer McClure-Spillers. Any questions on those 2 items? If not, we'll move on to 5.2 financial items. Ms. Robbins.
We have 4 items this evening. I have our financial report, an internal report, and then food service, and a transfer of funds. So I'm going to start with the financial summary. So far this year, we have received almost $22.6 million compared to $20 million last year. You will see the biggest change is out of property taxes. However, I want to caution, this is just due to higher tax advances this year. Once we receive the full amounts, it'll become back in line. So I just want to caution, it's a little bit of a timing and just due to the amount that we're in advances versus the full payment. So while it looks like it's a lot higher this year, once we get through March and I present, it'll come back in line. Overall expenditures equal just under $18 million compared to $17.7 last year. Personnel services are up 1% at $10,448,000 versus $10,320,000. Benefits are actually down 3%. Purchase services are up 19, and this is really across the board. There's not like one main item that is that's pushing this. We have some special ed costs, we have some ESC costs, just overall some maintenance service costs. So it's really kind of scattered throughout the board as to where we're looking at what we're over. Our supplies are down 9%, and then transfers are in line to last year. Overall, we did end the month of February at $12.1 million compared to $20 million. And I know I say this every month, but I just like to say it, that is due to the transfers we made at the end of last fiscal year. So that is, we're on target to where we should be at this time of year, but that big change is just due to those transfers. Any question in the financial piece of this? Okay, moving over to insurance. I'm actually happy to present this report this month. So far for revenue, we're pretty much in line with last year. Our revenue is up 7%. Our total expenditures, and I apologize, I'm in health insurance versus dental. Our total expenditures are at $3.7 million versus $3.4 million. And I'm happy to say claims are actually only 1% higher than last year. So as a reference point, we came into November, and I keep referencing November because that was really where our highest was. We were up 17% to last year. So we have gradually come down month over month. And happy to say at this point, we're only up 1%. Obviously, we know that can change quickly, but at least for right now, we're up 1%. We did end the month at $4.1 million compared to $3.9, almost $4 million last year. And we are planning to take on about $360,000 of expenses. So far, we're about -46, so we may not need that full $360. But so far, I originally a few months ago said that we were over that, and now that claims are only up 1%, that's starting to come down. So we're sitting in a pretty good spot. Dental insurance was flat to last year from a revenue standpoint at $166,000. I continue to say our dental insurance is just kind of chugging along. Our total expenditures decreased from last year by $16,000, so we're at $142 versus $158,000, and we ended the month at $276,000. So in a really good spot with dental insurance. So far, it was a good month to report through February on insurance. Any questions on either of those recaps?
Does the stop loss impact on the front end our claims or make them appear higher? Does that make a correction throughout the year? Or?
Yes. So we pay the full amount on the front end and then we get reimbursed. So you will see like 1 month may be high and then we'll get we don't necessarily get reimbursed. It's just that we don't owe that next piece of it. So it essentially is reimbursed. But once one person or once an individual hits $100,000, we no longer pay. We pay the claims up front, but then it comes in on the back end. So we only are responsible for $100,000 of claims per individual.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the food service report. I actually attached both January and February reports in here, but I'm going to walk through the February report since we really just speak to year to date. So far, through the month of February, the team has served a total of 236,000 meals. This is compared to 225,000 last year, so we're up 5%. And again, happy to see that because last year we were also in free breakfast and free lunch. So just happy to see that continuing to increase. We have brought in $596,000 compared to $543,000 last year, so up 10%. Our paper and, our food and paper expenses are at $434,000 compared to $402 last year. And then total labor is actually at $414 compared to $450. We had some additional sub-costs last year that's causing that to come down. So it's actually, this year is in line with where we would expect it to be. So far though, our profit and loss, we are in the hole by $230,000. At this point last year, we were in the hole by $282. So, not that I like to say that that's better than last year, but it's, you know, it's not quite as far. You will see actually in this next moment, I am asking to approve a transfer of $200,000 from our general fund into food service. I know I've mentioned in the past that we are paying $300,000 a year. So as of right now, I'm just proposing that we move the $200,000. I would anticipate by the end of the fiscal year to move that additional $100,000, but I just want to fine tune it and maybe not move all of it that we need. But I would anticipate coming back to the board and asking for that approval to move those funds. At the end of February, just to give some context, we were at $99,000 in the food service fund, so our fund 006. However, when you take into account our monthly purchase orders, we were about negative $70,000. So this $200,000 would help offset that and get us back into the positive in the food service fund. And then we would, you know, be able to continue until the end of school, but then before the end of the year, I would anticipate an additional transfer. Any questions on any of those 4 items? Thank you.
All right, move to 5.3, approval of the consent agenda items. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent agenda item.
Cameron's moved to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Smeltzer, second the motion. Any further discussion, questions? If not, please call the roll.
Mr. Cameron?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Dingmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to new business. Item 6.1. Motion to approve transfers as presented. We have 4 of them there. I think Mr. Belleville alluded to those earlier. Any questions? Not any motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the transfers as presented.
Mr. Johns moved to approve. I'll second. Any further discussion or questions? Not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Dingmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmerer?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.2, motion to approve personal service supplemental contracts as presented. Drake Master Booth, dual enrollment.
Last month, we approved all the dual enrollment supplementals, and we just missed one, so.
Entertain motion to approve. Mr. Conrad Zingmeister moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Mr. Cameron, second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Conrad Dingmeister? Mr. Kimmerer?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.3, motion to approve Marching Falcons and High School Choir to take a trip to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, June 2nd through 7th in 2027. Looks like a fun one.
I think they try to do this trip every 4 years? Every 2 years? Yeah, I guess it has been 2 years since the last time they did it. So we're in that cycle.
Any questions? Not, entertain motion to approve. Mr. Smeltzer moved to approve. I'll second that. Any further discussion or questions? Not, please call the roll.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Dingmeister?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmerer?
Yes.
Motion passed. 6.4, 4, motion to approve Crystal Zwick to take DECA members to the National Career Development Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, April 25th to 28th, 2026. This is yearly opportunity for them, right?
Yes, sir. If, provided they qualify at the state level.
Yeah, right. Okay, motion to approve.
I move that we approve this week to take DECA members for the conference.
Mrs. Johns is moved to approve. Have a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Mr. Kemmer, second the motion. Any further discussion? No, please call the roll.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.5, motion to approve Jennifer McClure Spillers to take FCLA members to FCCLA State Conference at the High Expo Center, April 16th and 17th of this year. Ms. Conrad Zainmeister moved to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. John, second the motion. Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.6, motion to approve Michelle Corella to take Raymond 4th grade on educational trip to COSI May 4th, 2026. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Conrad, please, do that. I'll second that. Any further discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.7, motion to approve the one-time payments for certified employees as presented. This is for the musical. Any questions?
So moved.
Mr. Schmelzer moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Mr. Kimber, second the motion. Any further questions or discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Motion passed. 6.8, motion to approve the contracts for student transportation and special ed services as presented.
This is, working with Mr. Turnbull, this is just some special transportation that needs to take place with Bloom Carroll. So Bloom Carroll would be transporting one of our students one day a week, and this contract basically just agrees to do that, and the payment terms of when we would do that.
Any questions? Not, entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the contract for student transportation and special ed services presented.
Mr. Kimmer's moved to approve. I'll second that. Any further discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.9. Motion to approve the amendment of the IT purchase of access points through the E-rate program from CDW Government LLC from the February 23rd board meeting from 134-634-81 to 135-666-70. It was just an additional subscription license. Any questions on that? If not, I need a motion to approve. Mr. Schmelzer moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Mr. Kimber, second the motion. Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mr. Schmelzer?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Yes. Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Excuse me. Motion passed. 6.10, motion to approve resolution number 2026-002, authorizing the filing of original increase complaint with the Fairfield County Board of Revision regarding Fairfield County Auditor's parcel number 031000450.
So So this is, we receive a report monthly, anytime there is a discrepancy between an auditor's value and what something was paid, or the value that a home or a piece of land or something was paid. This is, you can see that here, there's actually quite a difference in this. So the auditor valued this land at $316,000. However, it was, when they bought it, they paid $1.2 million. So there's quite a variance in there. So what this does is gives us the ability to basically have file with the Fairfield County Auditor to go back and contest that, so that they would look at increasing that value, so then when it comes time for property taxes, that value will be closer to where they paid it. We don't have a lot of this. I think this may have only been the second time that we've had this since I've been here. But there are some districts that they're on that monthly report, and they're done this monthly, so we haven't had a lot of this.
All right, any questions? Not, I need a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the resolution.
John moved to approve. Do I have a second? Mr. Smeltzer second the motion. Any further discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Motion passed. 6.11, motion to approve the resolution accepting rates and amounts as set by the Fairfield County Budget Commission and authorizing necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
So back in January, this is this is a two-part board approval. So in January, we file with the county auditor the amount of taxes that are needed for any bond payments and any of that. So we submit that to them. And then now in spring, the county auditor comes back and they propose the rates and resolutions to us of the amount that they will then be passing on for our taxes. So this is just the second part of that acceptance. It's a yearly acceptance. We have gone back and forth quite a bit, and in the county it was making sure all of these numbers are correct. But this is just that second piece of it, just accepting those rates.
Any questions?
I'm sorry.
Are there many differences or anything?
They might vary each year to year just based on what 1 mil equals, but there's nothing that has been swinging. It's been pretty set forward.
Any other questions or comments? If not, need a motion to approve.
I move to approve the resolution accepting the rates and amounts set by the Fairfield County Budget Commission.
Mr. Cameron's moved to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. John second the motion. Any further questions or comments? Not, please call the roll.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.12, motion to approve Frontline Forecast 5 contract for fiscal year 2027.
So this contract price this year, you can see, is a little over $24,000. Just to give context, it was $23,274 last year, so it is up 6%. This is the tool that we use for all of our forecasting and comparative analytics of how we can compare our district's information to other districts within the state. So they also have advisory services and and everything that is built into all of that.
Any questions? Not, entertain a motion to approve. Ms. Conrad Zainmeister moved to approve. I'll second that. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister? Yes. Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed. 6.13, motion to approve renewal rates for BWC services with Sedgwick, beginning contract year September 1st, 2026, and policy year January 1, 2027.
So So this is our yearly workers' comp. Sedgwick is our third party. Last year, our rate was at $31.80 versus we were at $32.40 this year. So a slight increase, but not a ton.
What's that projected savings?
That's because we essentially are in like a consortium of groups who are all within the group to look at all of workers' comp. So if we were to go out on our own, sorry, my computer just turned off, so I can read it exactly. If we were to go out on our own, I believe it's $10,000 higher. Yeah, $10,485. If we were to go out on our own, the premium would be the $45,786 versus being within this group where it discounted rate of the $35,000.
So it's our portion of the group rate.
Correct.
I assume that's a group of other schools.
It's like entities. So yes. This is something too that we have to pay. We estimate at the beginning of the year what we pay, and then every February we have to go back and actualize essentially what our exact percentages are, and then we have to make that actualization payment every February. And it's typically a couple $1,000s that we owe, so it's pretty standard year after year that it's right in this area.
Any questions? Not, need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal rate of emergency services.
Mrs. Johns moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Smeltzer second the motion. Any further discussion, comments? Not, please call the roll.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister. Yes. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item 6.14, motion to approve meta contracts for 26-27 school year.
These are contracts, I will tell you, the per student rates have not changed. The only reason for the increase in the total cost is just the increase in enrollment. So we basically pay it per student cost. So that's the only reason for those increases.
Any questions? Not, motion to approve.
I move to approve the meta contract 2026 school year, 2027 school year.
Mr. Kimmer's moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Jones seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed. And that moves us into section 7, executive session.
Numbers 1 and 5.
Items number 1 and 5. All right. So we need a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Or you say items 1 and 5, right?
And I do not anticipate any action.
No action following. All right. Entertain motion to move into executive session. Zainmeister moved to move in. Have a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Not, please call roll.
Mrs. Conrad Zainmeister. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns. Yes. Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed. Starting executive session 8:08.